everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 15th The Rookie Season 5 episode review, it's been a very long 2 to 3 weeks. It's been very long. It was so weird not having like a structure because I'm running both Rookie and Walker, both universes went on break. So I really didn't, I felt levity that I was able to do some more creative time with my free time, and I don't regret it. I just miss I missed the Rookie verse, I missed the Walker verse, I missed everything. I missed, but it was nice to take a break. Honestly, we didn't really do that much. We just did a Proud Family review during our little break, but now we're back full force. Or literally this week we're jumping on ship. We got Rookie tonight, Rookie Feds tomorrow, Walker the next day, Walker Independence next day, and a very delayed episode 469. So. Lots to do. We're going to start here with the Rookie, which, again, they really hid so much of what was actually going to be covered in the promo that when we actually got into the episode, I'm like, okay, damn. I was actually on suspense of what the heck they were going to do. Because, honestly, I was really legitimately surprised of how much, this felt like a Nolan episode, but at the same time, this felt like a crucial point in the Elijah story arc. And honestly, I thought that this was gonna end today, and I was like, there's no way they're going to tee up Elijah's return and not have there be some sort of it can't end like this. I knew going into it, but the way they were setting up puzzle pieces, and I'm like, the more we got into the episode, and by the time we got to the end, I'm like, okay, they really kind of screwed themselves up for failure. Because the thing is that the thing that I find more common as I look for I'm starting to notice when it comes to shows that long run into the air, it's usually that one main character does a deal with a very evil character that isn't the evil force, but it'll come back to places they become the evil force down the road. So I'm like, then bringing back an old aspect from an earlier I believe last season was interesting to say the least. But overall, I think on the Nolan side of things, this definitely was a very nice episode in terms of him getting to go back to his roots a little bit, kind of explore more about Nolan's past to an extent, as well as, going full in on the Elijah story arc, which, again, I had no idea on how much of how that story arc was going to be presented. And I honestly have a bold statement once we actually start the Butcher recap. But overall, I thought this was one of the best episodes of Rookie this season. I thought definitely there were some things that need to be addressed when we come back either next week or in a future episode. But other than that, I really can't wait to see what more they're going to do next. With that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we begin with Nolan. Elijah. He had just finished having coitus with a random girl, whatever you want to call her. He hears something in his house. He goes around. He has a pretty sizable house, to say the least. He looks around. He finds Lopez sitting in the middle of his kitchen, and he's like, bravo, this is it. Game over. I'm done. I'm going to call the cops on you. You done. And she's like, nah, don't worry about it. I was never here. You literally will have no physical evidence, no visual evidence, nothing to prove that I was here. And he's like, okay, so what are you really here for? Apparently Lopez is done. He tells her, yeah, I'm having a baby soon. I don't want to deal with this war between you and I for another pregnancy cycle, nor having to now to worry about 2 children, and I got to focus on my future with my kids, with my family. So I'm going to make you a deal. I'm part of a task force right now with the DEA and the feds against someone you screwed over recently during the Elijah usurp war a few episodes ago, and she's mad. She wants to come after you. She's after revenge, and I can warn you when she'll come get you. So you at least have a fighting chance to strike back. And he's like, I don't need that. That's nothing. I'm gonna get friended all the time. What's the difference? She's like, well, you were scared of her last time she came over to your side, so I'm assuming you really want to get some payback. At least It's like Voldemort with Dumbledore. Once Voldemort realized the power Dumbledore had, he's like, we gotta kill this guy. No matter what, I don't care who's gonna kill him. He needs to die. That sort of thing. Elijah ponders about it, and obviously, and for me, I was thinking like, okay, Lopez is going rogue. I thought this was going to be a random thing to kind of maybe sidestep the Elijah story arc a little bit, maybe give that a little break, a little levity. No, not really. No. So apparently, this is all part of a plan with the feds. Our feds, the actual. Well, we don't get the whole feds. We just get Garza, Laura, and Brendan on team. Assuming Harper and not Harper. I'm thinking of another show. I'm thinking. Simone and Carter were probably doing some other things, so they weren't involved this week. Well, they weren't involved in the rookie side of things. And honestly, again, my statement is that this felt more like a proper rookie Feds crossover than before. I feel like I'm calling this a pseudo crossover because like they were so intangibly involved in the plot. I think maybe like a good third of the episode they were there. I was like, yeah, this is great. This is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. Like actual, communication, actual, conversations, actual synergy going here. And again, like not to say the rookie episodes in the crossover have not service alone, but it's great to like have a non-crossover episode and just feel like it's all one big universe, that we're all connected, where we can go to each other's places whenever we want, which is honestly great to have. This is exactly one of the benefits when you have a shared universe show where you have these extra assets to play with. So they're in cahoots together trying to get draw Elijah, and not just Elijah. They're also trying to get away with the La Fuente's newest general, or the new leader of her organization. Trying to get both of them off at the same team, which again, it's a bit risky. It's very risky. And basically, they're trying to do the same thing Elijah did, except they're just trying to get both of them off the streets for good. It's a very risky ploy because again, Elijah's a very calculated man. He's very methodical. He's not going to do something unless he's absolutely certain it's going to happen. And La Fuente's old crew, like they haven't really been active that much. Like they've been present in LA. They've been present. They've had a global print. But they haven't really crossed paths with our characters in a long time. So in reality, they're really going to this has got to work. Otherwise, you're just screwed and you have no idea what they could do next if you fail. However, it's a ploy. They have a plan in place, and this is their best chance to get rid of both of them off the table, to have this opportunity that's given to them, and at least to see if they can go for it. Meanwhile, over all the way in the other side, on the East Coast, Nolan returns home to Pennsylvania with Bailey and Toad to gather up his mother's belongings that he's going to take back to LA, and as well as basically just trying to arrange her final, not really regret, more like just take care of her belongings and then figure out what to do after that, But mainly he's trying to be there for about a day. That's it. He literally does not want to stay any longer in PA does he have to, especially in this household. And it's actually pretty sweet that Bailey is along for the ride. Definitely this is not to say Nolan's previous girlfriends weren't similar, but it definitely is a great showcase where Bailey was willing to travel all the way out to PA to support him during this difficult time. Because again, Nolan didn't have a proper grieving cycle. He never cried or anything. And that's not to say that, Nathan Fillion can't cry. But it makes sense that, for him, emotionally, he's already cut off so many times with his mom that at this point he's like, oh yeah, she's gone. He can't avoid that, but he doesn't really feel remorse. He doesn't really feel like anything really happened if that makes sense in a way. So he gets there and he finds some random dude sifting through his mom's boxes in the middle of the living room, and he asks him, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm John Nolan, police officer, Captain John Nolan." And apparently, yeah. So during one of their schemes, when Nolan's mom was still alive, she recruited this guy to basically pose as her son and be Captain John Nolan, so he can sell these very fake protection vests. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Nolan's mom was such a scammer. This is just basically the entire house is more filled of product for failed investments than actual mementos, which is actually pretty funny. So Nolan kicks him out, and then they start working back on the stuff. And again, Nolan goes back into town. And honestly, I thought for a moment, are we gonna get a cameo from Nolan's ex-wife? It's been a while since we've seen her. It's been since season 3. And again, it doesn't have to happen. It really doesn't. But it's more connected to the universe. But actually, we did get something. We got the bank teller from the pilot. Remember her? The one that Nolan went for his security box for before he left PA. She came back, and again, it's been 3 years since they last saw each other. So such a big catch up, for him to be randomly in town again. And, again, like, it was funny, like, because Nolan meant, like, yeah, they did date one time in high school. But it was not even the lick of jealousy, because, like, yeah, I know you love me, and B, you let her go. So I'm like, yeah, it's completely not going to happen right now. Even when just into, like, how Bale is just totally shellacked with the whole situation is... they find the mortician, like, driving another casket over, and Nolan's like, okay, so what's the cheapest price you can get for me to, like, take care of my mother? Because, like, to be honest with you, I really have no intention of, like, really burying her. So, like, if we could just do any sort of option, she's like, cremation works, and I'm like, bet, let's do that. So it's like, Jesus Christ, damn, they're like, really? She's really, like, trying to be quick to the punch here. So they return back to the house, and they're just looking for more of, like, her failed inventions and everything of the sort. Two random dudes come up to the front porch saying that, hey, we're here to, like, find something in the house and then be on our way. And no one's like, well, what the heck? Like, no, like, A, I don't know you. B, I don't know you. And C, I don't know you. So, yeah, so Nolan and Bale immediately manages to take them out quickly. Very weak. I really thought through the promo photos that they were going to be much of a bigger friend, which like, no, they're just really much pushovers. They're really not the biggest friend in the world. I feel like if you were not a police officer or just not of John Nolan's stature, I don't think you would have much of a chance. But, this is Nolan we're talking about, so he got his way. So, anywho, so a little bit later on, I want to say later than night, a little bit later into the afternoon, Nolan and Bale are still cleaning up the house. They're still, like, making arrangements. They find a bottle of heroin inside of a shampoo bottle. So they're like, oh, they're assuming this is what the two bozos were here for. They meet up with the guy that was fake John Nolan, trying to see, like, what did he know about the drugs? What did he know about, everything that was going on? He's denying, like, hey, look, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm just trying to, like, live my life right now. So don't worry about me. So not knowing much what else to do, Nolan calls in an old childhood friend who's also part of the police department that's local to them. And, it was, like, nice to see, like, Nolan in his element. Like, the only Nolan connections we've seen from his past life were, obviously, his best friend, the rich guy, and then also, obviously, his ex-wife for that brief season. Of course, obviously, his son. So it's always nice to see, like, more of, like, Nolan's past life. Because, again, they've always expressed, like, we were never going to get flashbacks to Nolan's previous life. We never were going to go see them at the academy. Those were not the primary focus there. And it's still not. But it's still always nice to see more of, like, how Nolan was back in the day. And just see more shades of, like, his development. Even though that was off-screen development. So he fills them in, and the police officer was like, oh, yeah, I know this already. Like, yeah, well, let's take them out 1, 2, 3. So they set up a little bit of a coup. They bring the guys back under the gist of, like, hey, here's your drugs. I don't care. Get the hell out of here. But, once they were caught with possession of them, they immediately arrest them. I'm like, yeah, pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, which I'm like, this is way too easy to end pretty quickly. So we head over back to the night. They're still cleaning up. They're not really making much of a dent on this pile at all. Nolan's friend comes back in to deliver them some delicious pulled pork sandwiches, which honestly, I didn't have pulled pork recently, but I had a pernil, which is like amazing. But I am missing that barbecue pulled pork sandwich, so I will be getting that someday pretty soon. So they're doing arrangements. They're like, just like, having fun a little bit together. Because again, no one's in town for the day. So it's like, might as well, spend a little bit to like extravagant. They hear a noise upstairs. They go upstairs. It's the guy again, the fake John Nolan. And this time he's expressing like, yeah, the only reason why I'm here is to look for keys. Like, I want to take your mom's car. I need to get the hell out of this town. I need to get away from this place. And Nolan's like, well, I already sold the car. It's not here anymore. And second, you're really not being specific on what the heck's going on. And apparently, a couple months ago, he and his mom and Nolan's mom sold fake generators to a militia, and the generators were defective, so they were not working. So I was like, okay, then why didn't you pay back the money? And he's like, I spent the money. I'm like, you idiots. You're all dumb idiots. I don't know what you're doing here. Like, how can you... This is like, my only curiosity for this point in my life is like, if I wanted to see Ed and Eddie again, I just want to know how Eddie is with all his scams and everything. I want to see how that goes. Because honestly, that would be an interesting storyline. Anywho, I want to say we come back later to, Yeah, no, yeah. So so he's just talking about like this militia group that they're after him because like, you know, now that Nolan's mom's dead, you know, he's the only one like that was the real contact source for him. They show up at the house, they immediately start shooting up the place. It's only 2 people, which I'm like, I thought this was like going to be on par with the season 4 finale, but I'm like, no, it's just 2 dudes. Again, it's so funny how like, you know, so well versed these guys are. Like, you know, Nolan immediately takes them out, you know, obviously with Bailey and their friends help with taser guns, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this militia is like a failure. Like, they don't even know how to shoot properly. And I don't even know how to shoot, so I can't even say shit, but I'm just saying, like, it's funny, to say the least. Anywho, so they take them out with ease. The police are immediately, like, pretty quick. Like, Bailey calls the police, and, like, a fraction of a second, they show up, like, fireworks. Like, nothing happens in this town, which I'm like, even the guy's like, yeah, I can't wait till you go back to LA, which I'm like, great. That's just great. So the next morning comes, Nolan and Bailey are getting their final belongings that they're going to bring over back to LA with them. They do find a box with John's mementos, which is pretty sweet. Everything seems to be going well. And, you know, obviously, you know, Nolan's like, you know what? Maybe my mom wasn't bad after all. You know, maybe we could still sell the house, get the money for the cremation and the mover, so they just basically pack everything up and throw everything to the garbage. But however, no, apparently Nolan's mom never even paid a mortgage in the last year, so the banks took the house. They got nothing. So they're like, okay, great, this was perfect. Exactly what we were expecting. There was absolutely no way his mom was going to keep up with the mortgage payments, so they immediately leave. You're like, you know what, we're done here. You know, we're definitely never coming back to PA again, you know, anytime soon. So they bounce, they dip. And yeah, they leave because apparently Nolan's mom already had their next scam in order, which was a bunch of protein shakes. And Nolan's like, you know what? Let my friend handle it. You know, you go handle it. I'm going back to my life. I'm going back to my new life in LA. So speaking of back over to LA, getting back to the actual Elijah subplot of it all. So they're making a very risky play. Like, literally, there's so many moving pieces. And again, this would have been so epic of a takedown. But again, things have to happen for a reason. So the forces at play is like, you know, they're going to scare Elijah thinking that all of his lieutenants are off the field, which thinking that they died. They didn't. It was just they took them away into captivity. Second thing, they're bringing La Fuente's, you know, higher ups or her like big or top dogs to LA, with Wesley acting like a patsy to bring them over there. Garza makes comms so that basically he's trying to like get every single moving piece in order to get everything legitimized for Elijah to believe like an actual threat is coming. And again, like, you know, like their coup de grace right now is to get them to do the attack, to get Lopez's information to buy in. And honestly, it's all risky. Like, again, you have so many moving pieces that could all go so wrong. And honestly, it does make absolute sense. Like, yeah, Lopez is on edge about it. Like, she's the one like in the middle of all this, you know, that she has to do this to defend her family. She has to do this to defend the city. And this is a risky play. This is a very risky play that, you know, could go wrong at either point. Even Brendan and Laura go in to like arrest the lawyer, Wesley's ex, Elijah's current lawyer. And yeah, even she's like, you know, like she's in the middle where like she knows what she's doing is wrong, but like at the end of the day, like she's being paid for this, so she has no choice but to compromise and just, you know, call hacks on everything that everyone's saying about Elijah and just about her in general. And again, there's so many moving pieces that I was like legitimately scared for this entire arrangement. Yeah, so after the lawyer gets called in, Elijah's like, yeah, he has no major resources anymore. His lawyer's gone. His lieutenants are gone. What more is there to do? He calls over Lopez to confirm that, yes, you know, we're going to go forward. We're going to do this, you know, do this drop. And Lopez is like, great, here's the information you need to know. He's like, great, I'll take care of it from here. And this will hopefully be the last time I'll ever have to be in contact with you again. Also, I always expressed this on like the last 2 crossover where like I need a scene where Gray and Felix are together. We finally get that scene. It's great. I wanted more banter out of it. They were just, you know, obviously, you know, just following the protocol, following the script. But like I don't know why these 2 people, they need to have like an episode together. They you know, now that the door is open to like, you know, just have casual crossovers. We need to have an episode with just them 2. We need that at some point. That's all I'm asking for. So once they get all the pieces in place, they put 2 random officers and damn, it's been a while with the names. Oof, it's no one's is Juarez faking as the hitman, the hit people that are here to go take down Elijah. Obviously, Elijah's being even more careful this day because wanting to make sure that everything's confirmed. This is going to be a safe hit. No witnesses, no in and outs, but obviously everyone's surveilling, everyone's watching to a T. That everything has to go off without a hitch. Eventually, Elijah gets gives the green light. Yeah, we're gonna proceed with this. They're ready to move in. They're ready to get into that house and break in. And honestly, it was well shot. It was well done. I was so much in suspense. But the problem is, the moment we got to that first slow-mo scene with Elijah, I'm like, yeah, this is not going. This is not gonna happen. I don't know why. It's such a telltale sign. It's not gonna happen. And sadly, the reason why it didn't happen is not because of what Elijah decided to have a last-minute change of mind. It's because Aaron stupidly knocked over a beer bottle when he was approaching the house to be in his position. And considering the fact they're on a concrete street, a glass bottle, and Aaron wasn't trying to kick it, it was just like a simple pad. They alerted Elijah. Elijah, being very precautious and very careful, he decided, you know what? Let's back out. It's not going to hurt us right now, and we're gonna take a step back and go away. And obviously, Lopez was filled with frustration. We can still get them on possession of gun, but I'm like, no, because you're only gonna hold them for a day or so, and then everything they were working for, all gone. The real hit people, they're gonna go back to Guatemala. What else? Elijah's men, they're gonna go back on the streets. Everything's over. So it's there's no point even doing this. You maybe lock him up for a night or two, and then that's it. He's out on the street again. He's going to be even more pissed at you. So they call it off. And again, Lopez is filled with so much frustration that, again, everything she did was for nothing. All because Aaron's fucking hit a beer bottle, which I'm like, okay, the reason was stupid. It really was. I'm not going to lie to you. I think this was again, accidents happen. But again, considering the fact you have feds, you have the whole LAPD, the main force, Metro, all in on this operation. And it was only ruined because one officer kicked a beer bottle. They didn't address that in this episode, really. I would not be surprised if next week or the week after that we actually do address it. But leaving it to the side right now, we come back over to the Lopez Wesley residence where Lopez admits, yeah, it does suck that they weren't able to take down Elijah or I forgot Solaris name, Solaris. I forgot what her name was. It bums her out that they weren't able to take them out, but Felix was able to get a message out to Elijah, not to fuck with them. So it should hold them for a while. It's not going to be a permanent solution. Eventually, Elijah will go after them again. And then they have 24/7 protection all around the house. So hopefully that will mean Elijah will not make a move on them anytime soon, which is pretty good. But however, meanwhile, as they're wondering, hopefully that's the last we'll hear of them. Meanwhile, in Guatemala or somewhere in the air, Elijah sets up a meeting with the two generals, and he's like, yeah, this is what they were trying to do against us. We have a common enemy now, so we should team up, take them down. And she's like, I'm interested in hearing more, which I'm like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. What have you done? I mean, they keep talking about a war, that they're going to go to a war. And I'm like, I want to see the war. I don't know why. It's not a comic book thing. It's not a superhero thing. I want to see the war between Elijah's forces and the LAPD or the feds. I want to see that. I don't know why. I really, really want to see that. And it sounds really weird because, this is not the type of show, but it is what I want. But that's going to do it for me, because that was it for the Butcher recap for the night. But yeah, so for me, I find this was one of the best episodes of season 5 so far. I think it was one of the best episodes, period, of The Rookie. It manages to blend so well of a simplistic story with Nolan and, coming to terms someone with his mom's death, as well as dealing with such an important, crucial point in the Elijah story arc, that everything was great to see. Everything was great to witness. Yeah, the beer bottle thing, kind of stupid, not gonna lie to you. It really was of all things that had to go wrong, everything went perfectly without a T. That was the reason why. Okay, it is what it is. The feds, or at least majority of them, actually having an active participation throughout most of the episode. And there were times where I was thinking this was a feds episode for a second. I'm like, that's how great that these scenes were, that the lines were blurred, and it was just great to have that interaction. And again, they're setting up, I knew this wasn't going to be the end, and I'm thankful it wasn't the end, and now we're going to get an even more bigger dynamic conflict with now Elijah teaming up with the with La Fiero's old crew and seeing what type of revenge they're going to bring on Lopez and Wesley going forward. But for me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. My highest praises. They knocked it out of the park. It was a long 3 weeks away, but I'm very excitedly happy about that. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today, everyone. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of The Rookie? Let's have a conversation down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 5th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two, beside our Rookie episode reviews. We're currently doing tomorrow Rookie Fed episode reviews. We're doing Walker episode review, and we're doing Walker Independence episode reviews each and every week. So stay tuned for all that. But if you only care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review. So stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to us if you have not. Ring the bell for notification when our next episode is live. Like, favorite, share if you want to. And as well as follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you members of the Rookie Nation, of the Rookie fam out there, I'll see y'all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.